Dawson's Rentals.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here with a little bit of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers news about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Return comic that's upcoming, an introduction to a pretty major character in it. If you didn't know what Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Return is, it's a 4-issue miniseries coming up, debuting February 7th, written by Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Ranger herself, that details kind of like a what-if alternate history of the MMPR team that was sneak previewed in the 30th anniversary issue, effectively in a timeline where the original 6 stayed together. There was no peace conference. I mean, there was, but they worked around it. There was no Rocky, Adam, and Aisha on the team, and it kind of exists in a time where they stayed together, they defeated Rita and Zed, but now we're zooming forward to the future to show that in order to defeat them, it was a great cost, and kind of in a kind of darker future for those characters and how we're exploring that. And with that, we just got the introduction of a new character that's going to be in it. We did get some sneak previews before of the character profiles for them, but we got a new one, which is Olvia Hart, who is going to be the daughter of Tommy and Kim in this universe, this timeline, as the female Green Ranger. So we got a little concept art of her character in the human form, and then the Green Ranger form, and then I think a cover and stuff like that, which is rather interesting. You know, I'm sure this is gonna set people off. There's gonna be some controversy, I'm sure. Probably some people that think it's disrespectful. There's some sort of drama with Bat in the Sun, and apparently JDF's Green Ranger movie pitched the idea of Tommy and Kim having a daughter in it. I'm sure the woke boys will be in the comments being like, woke, woke, woke! So I'm sure this will be controversial, but I think it's pretty cool. I don't know about any of the drama about the Bat in the Sun. I just tend to like to ignore any of the drama or controversy and just enjoy the stories. Life is too crappy to be worrying about all this reason to watch or not watch or read something. Just read or watch whatever you want to watch. Anyway, I think it's pretty cool. You know, kind of in a way predictable, but also pretty neat. And it is kind of funny that it comes at a time where over the course of the various stage of rumors about the upcoming reboot, there's been there's going to be female Red, there's going to be a Green Ranger lead, or I think the recent one is that we're going to have female Red, but Green's going to be kind of the main character named Tommy. What if they end up just merging it all and having a female Green Ranger lead? I don't know. That would, again, the woke boys would go nuts. But it's just funny that's happening at the same time. It does make me curious about the story in regards to I wonder if Tommy is going to have passed away in the present timeline, because in the preview issue, it just kind of showcases the alternate history of basically it's actually really funny. The alternate history is we gotta go to the peace conference, guys, what do we do? They're like, you can just teleport, you can come back here anytime you need. I thought that was funny, but that showcases why the team stays together. But it kind of flashes you through it gives you an idea that there was this major battle, and then it flashes you through showing Tommy and Kim are married and whatever. And then at the end it has this other character named Emma or something, which I thought was Kim, but maybe she's not because the concept art does look different. But anyway, I think that she's the only one we see in the future. I mean, we see future-ish, mid-future, Tommy and Kim getting married or whatever. But the future in which the series takes place, the prime timeline, I think we only see possibly Kim. So it doesn't give you any indication that Tommy's dead in that. But maybe they're going to, because maybe Amy Jo Johnson wants to somehow pay a legacy tribute to him, and that's why she has to take up the mantle. Or maybe Tommy's just missing. The only thing we have about the premise is what I've already told you, and also the fact that in present day, Jason's become sort of this vigilante, and he's also kind of missing out there. And we have the concept art of you see older Billy and Zach, and their suits look the same. I think Kim's look the same, but Jason has this very wanderer look. And then of course we have female Green, but we do have a bunch of photos of the covers that have male Green on there, but I don't know if that's from the present time or not. I'm just curious to see if the story will be will Tommy be missing? Will they kind of do a tribute of oh, his character's gone, but the daughter's going to pick up the legacy? Some people point out that she does look like JDF's real-life daughter, but I don't know. I'm actually quite excited for this storyline, to be honest. When it first was announced, I was excited for it, generically, kind of when the TMNT crossover was announced, in terms of, I'm always just looking forward to new comic content, but there was nothing being oh my god, this is so, the Hyperforce comic, that was an oh my god thing for me. But then after reading the preview issue and seeing stuff about it, I think this looks pretty cool. I know it's more MMPR, but I've said a million times, hot take, I'd rather read some good MMPR stories than mediocre Sentai adaptions. And I think it looks really cool, because it is kind of this cool Elseworlds idea, which is always fun. It also feels like a requel, to be honest. Oh my god, he's making a requel! The idea of, they do in movies, because I'm thinking about this a lot in the context of comics, of oh, it's Elseworlds, which it is, type of deal. But, it feels also like a requel, which has been discussed when conversations have come about of, what would you do for a reboot? And some people are what if they did a requel where it's a selective sequel, where they're it's only a sequel to MMPR and kind of ignores everything else, kind of Halloween did 4 times, and a bunch of series have done that, and stuff like that. And that's kind of what it's like. like. I mean, it is taking an alternate history route as well. It almost kind of is like, you know, if you were to, like the Halloween one where they like it ended after the first one, except they added on the bit where Michael was caught at the end. And that's kind of what this is like, where it's like kind of a sequel to MMPR Season 2 up until the point where the peace conference happened, and then you got like a bit of an alternate history there. So it's kind of like a requel in that regard. And then just seeing them like focusing on the main cast in the future, but in this altered history where you're almost treating it like MMPR was the only thing. Like the only conflict was Rita and Zed. And so I think that's actually kind of interesting to see. I'll be really interested to see if the series incorporates any other mythology outside of MMPR. Like, I'm not expecting to see RPM or anything like that, but you know what I mean? Like, obviously we find out later, especially right now with the Darkest Hour event going on, that like Dark Spectre was behind it all. I'll be curious to see if they incorporate any of that, not in like an Easter eggy way, but just in a way of, I'm curious if Amy Jo Johnson or anybody working on it was keen to take advantage of anything else, or if they're going to kind of keep it all close to home. It seems like it might be mostly character driven, which is actually kind of great. Also, I have to say the Green Ranger costume looks really good, like in the female form. Like, that sounded weird, I didn't mean to say it like that, but like the female version of the costume looks cool. I don't think we've ever seen outside of like fan art, because I don't think they ever did a Gokai change or a legendary change. I don't think there's been any instances in the comic where we saw that, because obviously we saw some different versions, like I think female Black Ranger and like female Red Ranger from the 1969 team, and then, you know, we had the color swap Arc and Go-Go and stuff like that, but I don't think we've ever seen a female version of it, and just it looks good in that. I don't know, I think that the suit works well with that. But yeah, I think that's really interesting. Like I said, this comes out in February. I'm personally looking forward to this. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Like, the preview issue actually got me super stoked for it, because I think it looks really interesting. And I think it's kind of interesting having one of the main cast members write it. I'll just be kind of curious what they do with her character and like what's going to happen with Tommy's character in this. And I'm curious, like, I think this is meant to be a self-contained event, obviously. You know, I think that'll primarily be just for this. But, you know, since the comics do use the multiverse a lot, I would be honestly curious to see, like, when the dust settles, when we see what the status quo is like for this team, like the Prime Universe versions interact with these versions, especially since in the Prime Universe, Tommy's married to Kim. And we have done Prime Universe stories in the comics, because like in that same 30th anniversary issue, we have the story of Tommy and Kim's wedding, and you know, we did Soul of the Dragon. So since the show Prime Universe is on hiatus for possibly ever, I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of comic crossover, have these two teams meet in a way. I think that would be kind of cool. Not like I want to team up, but I'm just thinking like it's interesting seeing the alternate history of like Tommy and Kat and JJ, and then these two and Olivia. But yeah, and of course Olivia being a pretty obvious call out to Tommy Oliver and stuff like that. But anyway, what do you guys think of the female Green Ranger for the upcoming Power Rangers Return series, or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Return series? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps, ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.